The quantum drift. The vast emptiness of space stretched before Zara Venn like an infinite canvas of darkness, punctuated by distant starlight. Her mapping vessel, the Horizon Pathfinder, hummed softly around her as she adjusted the quantum navigation systems. Another day of charting unexplored regions of the Andromeda frontier, or so she thought. A sudden spike in the radiation sensors caught her attention. Warning lights flickered across her console, painting the compact bridge in an urgent amber glow. Something was out there, something that didn't match any known stellar signature. "Computer, analyze anomaly," Zara commanded, her fingers dancing across the holographic interface. Years of deep space exploration had taught her that unexpected signals were rarely good news. The ship's AI responded in its clinical tone, "Unidentified energy signature detected. Quantum distortion detected. Potential vessel in critical condition." Zara leaned forward, her dark eyes narrowing. The sensor readings were unlike anything she'd encountered in her decade-long career as a cartographer. The energy patterns suggested an advanced technology far beyond current interstellar standards, yet the signature was deteriorating rapidly. "Plot an intercept course," she instructed, her heart racing with a mixture of scientific curiosity and professional responsibility. Regulations were clear: any potential life-threatening situation required immediate investigation. The Horizon Pathfinder adjusted its trajectory, quantum drives humming with increased intensity. As they approached, the anomaly began to take shape, a vessel that seemed to be phasing in and out of normal spacetime, its hull shimmering with an iridescent energy that defied conventional physics. Rylan Korik, her ship's engineer, burst onto the bridge. His wild mess of copper-colored hair and oil-stained jumpsuit told a story of someone who spent more time elbow-deep in machinery than following protocol. "Those energy readings are insane," he breathed, leaning over the console. "That ship shouldn't even be holding together." Zara nodded. "Life signs?" The computer's response was tentative. "Minimal biosignatures detected. Multiple quantum fluctuations interfering with precise readings. A rescue mission was inevitable." Zara knew the risks: an unstable vessel could collapse at any moment, and the unknown technology presented countless potential hazards. But she had never been one to turn away from a challenge. "Prepare the emergency extraction pod," she told Rylan. "We're going to attempt a rescue." The engineer raised an eyebrow. "Going in personally? That's not like you, Zara. Usually, you'd send a drone." "This is different," she replied, her voice steady. "Those readings, something about them feels important." Rylan knew better than to argue. He'd worked with Zara long enough to understand her intuition was rarely wrong. As they maneuvered closer, the alien vessel began to show signs of complete structural failure. Quantum energy crackled along its hull, creating mesmerizing patterns that seemed to dance between reality and some unknown dimension. 30 seconds to potential vessel collapse, the computer announced. Zara secured her protective suit, checking each seal with practiced precision. Rylan monitored the extraction systems, his usual casual demeanor replaced by focused concentration. "Quantum stabilization field at maximum," he reported. "But I can't guarantee it'll hold long enough for a complete extraction." The moment stretched, charged with anticipation. Zara watched the alien vessel, a technological marvel on the brink of destruction. Whatever secrets it held, whatever civilization had created it, was about to be lost forever unless they acted now. "Initiating emergency extraction," Zara commanded. The rescue pod launched, quantum fields surrounding it like a protective bubble. As it approached the disintegrating vessel, strange energy patterns began to interact with their systems. Something was reaching out, something beyond mere technological communication. Little did Zara know, this moment would change everything: her mission, her understanding of the universe, and her entire life's trajectory. The quantum drift had begun. Fragments of a lost civilization. The rescue pod's interior hummed with an otherworldly resonance as Zara carefully examined the beings she had pulled from the collapsing vessel. Dr. Solara Nex, as the alien later identified herself, was unlike any life form Zara had encountered in her years of space exploration. Crystalline skin that shifted between translucent blues and deep indigos covered a delicate, almost ethereal frame. Intricate neural pathways visible beneath her skin pulsed with a soft bioluminescent light, suggesting a biological complexity far beyond human understanding. "Your intervention was precise," Solara spoke, her voice a melodic blend of harmonic frequencies that seemed to resonate within Zara's mind rather than through standard audio communication. Rylan monitored the medical systems, his usual sarcastic demeanor replaced by scientific fascination. "Her quantum signature is off the charts," he muttered, adjusting various scanning devices. "It's like she's partially existing in multiple dimensions simultaneously." Zara focused on the immediate concern. "What happened to your vessel?" The energy readings suggested a catastrophic event. Solara's crystalline eyes flickered, a gesture that seemed to translate complex emotions through subtle light patterns. "We were preserving knowledge," she explained, her words carefully chosen. "The Nexus Repository was our mission, collecting and protecting the collective wisdom of civilizations on the brink of extinction." The medical bay of the Horizon Pathfinder felt suddenly small, inadequate to contain the magnitude of what Solara was suggesting. A repository of universal knowledge, carried by a being who seemed to be both a living archive and a technological marvel. "Your vessel," Zara pressed, it was collapsing across multiple quantum states. A soft luminescent pulse indicated what might have been a nod. Quantum shielding was compromised. The repository's protective mechanisms were failing. "We detected a cascading dimensional breach that would have erased centuries of collected knowledge." Rylan couldn't contain his curiosity. "How many civilizations?" he asked, leaning closer. "Thousands," Solara responded. "Civilizations that rose and fell across galaxies, their stories, their scientific discoveries, their cultural essence, all preserved in quantum memory matrices." The implications were staggering. A living library, rescued from the absolute brink of total destruction. Zara noticed something peculiar. Despite her critical condition, Solara seemed more concerned with the information she carried than her own survival. The neural pathways beneath her skin continued to pulse, suggesting an ongoing process of data preservation and transfer. "The repository cannot be lost," Solara said, her voice taking on an urgent tone. "There are entities that would destroy this knowledge. Predatory collectives that consume information as a form of territorial expansion." Rylan exchanged a glance with Zara. The casual rescue mission had transformed into something far more complex. "Tell us more," Zara encouraged, understanding that they were now custodians of something far greater than a simple rescue operation. Solara's crystalline form began to project holographic fragments, glimpses of civilizations long gone. Towering crystal cities that defied gravitational constraints. Biological technologies that seamlessly merged organic life with computational systems. Entire species that had evolved beyond physical limitations. "The repository contains more than historical records," Solara explained. "It contains potential futures. Technological solutions to challenges that have yet to emerge. Evolutionary pathways for species still in their infancy." The medical bay transformed into a window of infinite possibilities, holographic projections dancing around them, revealing fragments of cosmic histories and potential futures. Zara realized they were no longer just a rescue team. They had become guardians of something monumentally important. "We need to ensure your safety," she said firmly. "And protect the repository." Solara's response was both a warning and an invitation. "Then prepare yourself. The entities that hunt this knowledge will not surrender easily." As if on cue, distant quantum sensors began to register strange energy signatures. Something was approaching. Something that felt like a predator hunting its most precious prey. The Horizon Pathfinder's peaceful mission had just become a fight for the most valuable resource in the universe, knowledge itself. The quantum nexus. The approaching threat manifested as a distortion in space, a predatory wave of dark energy that seemed to consume light and information simultaneously. Ryland's systems erupted with warning signals, quantum algorithms struggling to comprehend the approaching anomaly. "It's a void collective," Solara announced, her crystalline form now pulsing with an intense defensive resonance. "Information hunters that consume entire civilizational archives." Zara's hands flew across the navigation console, her mind racing through potential escape routes. "Rylan, can we quantum jump?" The engineer's face was a mask of concentration. "Not with these energy signatures tracking us. They're using some kind of quantum entanglement that's disrupting our drive systems." Solara moved closer to the main console, her neural pathways creating intricate light patterns that seemed to interface directly with the ship's systems. "The repository contains defensive protocols," she explained. "But activating them will require a symbiotic connection." Her crystalline eyes locked with Zara's, a silent question hanging in the air. The proposal was clear, a quantum neural link that would merge Solara's technological consciousness with the ship's systems. "It's not without risk," Solara warned. "The connection will be invasive. Your neural pathways will be temporarily reconfigured to handle the repository's defensive mechanisms." Rylan interjected, "We don't exactly have a lot of options. Those energy signatures are closing in, and they're definitely not here for a friendly chat." The Void Collective's approach was methodical, a wave of darkness that seemed to erase spatial coordinates as it moved. Traditional weapons would be useless against an entity that existed beyond conventional physical laws. Zara made her decision. "Do it." The neural link was nothing like she expected. It wasn't painful, instead, it was a complete recalibration of perception. Suddenly, she could see the quantum fabric of spacetime as a living, breathing entity. The repository's knowledge flooded her consciousness, millennia of scientific discoveries, cultural insights, and technological advancements compressed into microseconds of understanding. Rylan watched in awe as Zara's body began to emit a soft, multidimensional glow. The ship's systems transformed, quantum shields developing patterns that defied traditional understanding of defensive technology. Initiating repository defense protocol, Solara's voice echoed through the ship's systems. The Void Collective's approach suddenly met resistance. Quantum barriers materialized, not as solid walls, but as complex information matrices that absorbed and redirected the predatory energy. It was like watching a living immune system defend against an invasive force. "They're trying to breach the information barrier," Rylan shouted, monitoring the external sensors. Zara's consciousness, now expanded beyond her physical form, responded. The ship became an extension of her being, a living weapon of pure information and defensive strategy. Solara explained the process. "The repository is more than a collection of knowledge. It's a living defensive system that adapts and responds to existential threats." The battle was fought on a level beyond visual perception. Quantum waves crashed against each other, information becoming a weapon more potent than any physical force. The Horizon Pathfinder seemed to pulse with an inner light, transforming from a simple exploration vessel into a fortress of collective knowledge. "We're not just defending ourselves," Zara realized, her voice resonating through the ship's systems. "We're protecting the potential futures of countless civilizations." The Void Collective began to retreat, its information-consuming approach systematically dismantled by the repository's defensive protocols. But victory came with a price. As the threat receded, Zara felt the neural link's intensity. The repository had changed her, expanded her understanding of reality in ways that would be impossible to fully comprehend. Solara watched carefully. "The connection is more than temporary," she said softly. "You have been marked by the repository. Your perception will never be the same." Rylan looked between Zara and Solara, understanding that their mission had transformed from a simple rescue into something far more significant. The quantum nexus had been activated. And nothing would be the same again. Convergence of worlds. The aftermath of the Void Collective's attack left the Horizon Pathfinder fundamentally altered. Zara moved through the ship like someone experiencing reality through a completely new lens. Her neural pathways, permanently modified by the repository's connection, perceived dimensions beyond ordinary human comprehension. Rylan watched her carefully, noting the subtle changes. Her movements were more fluid, her eyes occasionally flickering with holographic data streams that only she could see. "How are you holding up?" he asked, his typical sarcasm replaced by genuine concern. "I'm seeing everything differently," Zara responded, her voice carrying a subtle harmonic resonance. "It's like the universe has multiple layers of meaning I never comprehended before." Solara, still recovering from the defensive protocol, explained the transformation. "The repository doesn't just store information. It creates living connections between consciousness and cosmic knowledge." The ship's systems had evolved. Quantum navigational capabilities now allowed them to plot courses through spatial anomalies that would have been impossible before. They were no longer just explorers, they had become guardians of a cosmic archive more valuable than any known resource. A new threat emerged on their long-range sensors. Unlike the Void Collective, this signal was more precise, more intentional. Mechanical energy signatures suggested a technologically advanced civilization hunting for the repository. The quantum seekers, Solara identified them, her crystalline form tensing. A technological civilization that harvests advanced knowledge systems. They're relentless in their pursuit. Rylan brought up the tactical display. "How do we defend against them? Our last defensive protocol was reactive. We need a proactive strategy." Zara's transformed consciousness provided insights. "We don't just defend. We adapt." The repository's knowledge began to manifest through the ship's systems. Advanced technological schematics materialized, blueprints for defensive technologies that combined biological adaptive systems with quantum computational frameworks. "We can create a quantum camouflage," Zara explained, her fingers dancing across holographic interfaces. "A system that doesn't just hide us, but actively misdirects any tracking mechanisms." Solara watched in amazement. The human's ability to integrate repository knowledge was unprecedented. Most species would be overwhelmed by the quantum neural link, but Zara seemed to be evolving in real time. The quantum seeker's approach was methodical. Massive technological constructs that looked like living machines, capable of consuming entire information networks. Their energy signatures suggested they were more than simple machines, they were a collective consciousness hunting for advanced knowledge. Rylan prepared the ship's defensive systems, integrating the new quantum technologies. "This is way beyond anything in our current technological understanding," he muttered. "That's the point," Zara responded. Her perspective had shifted. She no longer saw the threat as something to be defeated, but as a complex system to be understood and redirected. As the quantum seekers drew closer, the Horizon Pathfinder began to transform. Its exterior shifted, mimicking the surrounding spacetime fabric. Not just a visual camouflage, but a complete quantum recalibration that made the ship almost imperceptible. "The repository is teaching us," Solara observed. "Not just providing information, but showing us how to evolve." The first wave of quantum seeker probes approached, scanning the space where the Horizon Pathfinder should have been. But they found nothing, just a perfectly ordinary section of spacetime, with no indication of the ship's presence. Rylan couldn't help but grin. "We just disappeared." Zara's response was more measured. "We didn't disappear. We became something else entirely." The convergence was complete. The ship, its crew, and the repository had merged into a single, adaptive system. They were no longer just explorers or defenders, they had become something entirely new. The universe had just witnessed the birth of a new kind of existence, one that could navigate the complex layers of cosmic knowledge with unprecedented flexibility. And their journey was just beginning. Starbound Legacy. The quantum camouflage held, but Zara knew it was only a temporary solution. The quantum seekers were persistent, their technological consciousness adapting with each moment that passed. The repository's knowledge pulsed within her, revealing potential futures and catastrophic outcomes. "We can't run forever," she told Rylan and Solara, her consciousness simultaneously processing multiple potential scenarios. The ship's interior had transformed, becoming a living extension of their collective intelligence. Solara's crystalline form shimmered with understanding. Confrontation is inevitable. The repository contains knowledge that could destabilize entire galactic power structures. Rylan checked the ship's systems, his hands moving almost unconsciously across interfaces that seemed to anticipate his thoughts. "We need a strategy that's more than just defense. Something that fundamentally changes the equation." The repository began to reveal its deepest secret, a quantum communication network that transcended traditional technological barriers. It wasn't just a collection of information, but a living network of potential consciousness. Zara's transformed perception showed her the truth. The quantum seekers weren't simply technological hunters. They were a species trapped in a cycle of knowledge consumption, desperate to break free from their own limitations. "We're not just protecting information," Zara realized. "We're offering a path to evolution." As if responding to her insight, the ship's systems began to generate a complex quantum signal. Not a weapon, not a defense, but a communication protocol that spoke directly to the fundamental consciousness of the quantum seekers. The first response came as a wave of confusion. The seekers' probes, which had been methodically hunting them, suddenly paused. Their mechanical consciousness encountered something entirely unexpected, an invitation rather than a barrier. Solara watched in amazement. The repository is showing them another way of existing. Not through consumption, but through connection. Rylan monitored the external sensors. "They're changing. Their energy signatures are transforming." The space around them began to shift. The quantum seekers' massive technological constructs started to reconfigure. What had been predatory hunting mechanisms were now becoming something else, conduits of communication, bridges between different forms of consciousness. "We're breaking their cycle," Zara explained, her voice carrying the weight of cosmic understanding. "They've been trapped in a method of survival that was destroying them. The repository is showing them a path to true evolution." Fragments of memories and potential futures began to flow between the Horizon Pathfinder and the quantum seekers. Entire civilizational archives, technological breakthroughs, cultural insights, all shared in a moment of pure quantum communication. Solara's form began to resonate with the communication. This is what the repository was truly designed for. Not just preservation, but transformation. The transformation wasn't just external. Zara felt her own consciousness expanding. The neural link with the repository had changed her fundamentally. She was no longer just a human explorer, she had become something more. Rylan watched in awe as the space around them filled with intricate quantum patterns. The quantum seekers were no longer hunting. They were learning, growing, evolving. "We've created a new form of first contact," he said, a mixture of wonder and excitement in his voice. As the communication reached its peak, the repository revealed its ultimate purpose. It wasn't just a collection of knowledge, it was a cosmic mechanism for species evolution, a way to break destructive cycles and create new possibilities. The Horizon Pathfinder became more than a ship. It was now a beacon of potential, a living testament to the power of understanding and connection. Zara looked out at the transformed space, understanding that their journey was just beginning. The universe had just witnessed the birth of a new kind of cosmic diplomacy. "We're not just explorers anymore," she said softly. "We're architects of possibility." The starbound legacy had been written, not through conflict, but through the most profound form of communication imaginable. Their journey continued, into the infinite unknown.